everybody. I know you can hardly see me on your screen. I'm in the upper right-hand corner, way up there, right-hand corner. There I am, but my special guest for our crew and pacer meeting for the Sangre de Cristo Ultras is Adam McRoberts of Big Things Crewing. Hey, Adam.
Hey, hey.
How's it going, my man?
Going great.
Are you coming down? Are you joining us at the race?
Oh, you better believe it. Yes, I'm going to be there with a couple of my compadres, and we're going to be pacing people up and down Music Pass.
Well, that's great. We really appreciate the help. I'm sure they will too. And I'm just trying to figure out how to watch comments on here or questions that we may get. Okay, there we go. We're good. All right, man. So, this is going to be our crew and pacer meeting. We just want to talk with folks real quick about what to expect about pacing and crewing an ultra marathon, especially this one. It's a little bit different. We'll start with crewing first. As you know, most ultras require crews to drive all over the place to get from aid station to aid station, but this one is a stay put kind of race. So, what have you prepared for us to talk about on the crewing front?
Well, it's going to be kind of interesting because most of our crew is going to be just located at Music Meadows, and we're trying to stay as clear and socially distanced as possible from the actual aid station. So most of our crews are going to be camping out, hanging out in their cars, killing time. And, you want to be ready for your racer, but you're going to have a lot of time to kill. So prepare for that, whatever that means for you guys. Bring games, bring books. John suggested bring lawn games, lawn darts, frisbees, whatever you guys want to bring. There's no Wi-Fi out there, and you're going to have some time to kill. But when you see your runner coming in, you want to get ready for your runner. You want to have a blanket laid out with all their gear, shoes, special food items, everything laid out nicely so that they can just get their stuff, switch their pack out, and take off. One thing you're probably going to want to do is have a meeting with your racer the night before. Check in with them and see what they're expecting from you. See exactly what they're going to need. Every runner is going to be a little bit different. Every runner is going to have some special need items, so just be prepared for that. Communication is very important, and it's usually done the night before the race or sometime before the race. So let's see, what else? And bring enough food and clothes for yourself too. Like you said, we're going to be camped out there for a long amount of time. So just be prepared. Whether that's camping in your tent, hanging out in your car, hanging out with other people in a socially distanced type of way, but be prepared to spend a lot of time hanging out and waiting for your runner. It's a thankless job. That's what crewing is.
The cat's automatic food dispenser is going off here. So if anybody's hungry, this thing. Awesome.
I'm going to say, no thanks, Tom Hanks.
It's always something, my man. There's always something going on. And we have a cat here that fell asleep in the water bowl the other day. It was pretty great. Anyway.
Wow.
We're cat people. So, you were talking about making sure that there's a blanket out and, having things out that your runner may need. And, you mentioned having a meeting the night before with your runner to find out what they do need. What if a runner doesn't know what they need? What are things that you would suggest that a runner's crew always have just in case on that blanket?
For sure. Definitely a couple pairs of socks, extra pair of shoes. Be prepared to take their pack off for them and load their pack up with different food items. Refill it with water. Body Glide, Vaseline, mosquito repellent. I don't know what the bugs are like out there right now. Probably not many. Sunscreens are going to be a good one. Just the basics. Anything they're going to need to be out in the woods for a long amount of time. Mainly food and water, and we're taking care of their feet as well. Runner may come in and need to sit down, take their shoes and socks off, and let their feet air dry for a minute. And while they're doing that, prepare their pack for them. Take their pack off, take their old food wrappers out, dispose of them properly, and we're getting new food in there, and we're like a NASCAR pit station, and they're headed back out into the woods.
Do you have any specific tricks that, as a runner, things that you like to do during a long ultra to help you stay fresh and focused?
While I'm out on the trail?
Yeah, or in the aid station or anything. Are there any tricks of the trade, things that may help? Like for me, it's brushing my teeth. Like if I always have a toothbrush and toothpaste for like around 100K. And I brush my teeth wherever 100K is, and it's like a fresh restart. It gets all that garbage out of your mouth, and it just,
That's a good idea.
It just helps you out. Like, do you have any tricks or things like that?
Nothing real crazy. One thing I do is I don't put earphones in at all for the first half of the race. I'm chatting with other runners, making the time go by, keeping the camaraderie high, keeping my spirits high. And then as the race progresses, I'll put in earphones and I'll maybe listen to an audiobook or I'll listen to a podcast or something like that. And then the last third of the race is when I'm putting on the music. And I have a special playlist that's just for racing only. It's the music that gets me pumped up. And when I'm tired and when I'm lagging and when I don't want to keep going, it's the music that pumps me up and keeps me going. So that's one of my little tricks.
Are there any things that you would tell a crew person not to do?
Yes. Don't complain to your runner, for one thing. If you are bored out of your mind and you've been sitting there for 15, 20, 24 hours and, the last thing you want to do is wait anymore. That's what your job is. Your job is to sit there and wait on that runner. So that would be one thing. You don't want to complain to your runner about how long you've been waiting there, or how cold it is, or how hungry you are, because almost guaranteed your runner's more cold, more hungry, maybe even more bored than you. So that would definitely be one of them.
Yeah, I would ask crews to not approach the aid station. Especially in the age of COVID with social distancing and all the precautions we already have in place. It really is. The aid stations are for the runner directly. And so, I'm going to request that crews not enter the aid station or approach the table, that only the runners do that. And I know, like, some races, crews will go up to the table to refill things for their runner or grab something. And, that's okay in moderation. Let's not make it a huge habit, I guess.
So let me ask you this, John. When
Yeah.
the crew member takes off a hydration pack from your runner, where do they fill that up? Do they fill that water up at the actual aid station table?
Yeah, they'll have to go up towards the table and ask a volunteer to pour the liquid into the bladder for them.
Okay.
And that's fine.
Sure.
Just please don't interfere with any other runners that may be in the station, or everything's about respect. So as long as you respect everybody's time and space, we're going to be okay.
Sure. And as a crew member, if you don't really know how to crew, say this is your first time crewing for your runner, just pay attention to other crews. There's going to be some professional crews out there with some runners that have done this a lot, and that's really how we all learned how to do it, is just watching other people. Just keep your eyes and your ears open and just see when a runner comes in, exactly what that crew's doing for that runner. Sitting them down, taking care of them, asking what they need, catering to whatever it is that they need, and then getting them right back out on the trail. And so, yeah, just watch other people, see how it's done, and, that's how we all learned.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, the first time I ever went to a 100-miler was to learn how to direct my crews better for 50-milers. And somehow I got sucked into running hundreds. But I was really impressed with everything I saw at the Vermont 100 and how crews they were pit crews. It was like clockwork. You're in and out. I think it's important for crews to also remember that, there's only so much time you're allowed to be out on the course, and every minute you spend in the aid station, you're losing time out on the course.
True.
So, your runner, there's not a lot of aid stations at this race, but 28 stations, 5 minutes each, you've lost 100 minutes.
Adds up.
So that's an hour and 40 minutes down the tube. So your 36-hour cutoff is now 34:20 or whatever the math is. I suck at it,
Right.
obviously by my distances, but yeah,
And depending on your runner, if your runner's looking to win this thing or to come in the top 10 and you know they're going to be really racing this thing hard, set a timer for them. When they come into an aid station and you're crewing them, set a timer. Sit them down, let them do whatever they need to do, but let them know, okay, you've been here 2 minutes. You've been here for 3 minutes. Okay, you've been here 5 minutes. You got to go, man. That's too much time.
yeah. Yeah, I try to set like a maximum allotted amount of time at the aid station, and I try to stick to it. But hey, there's sometimes your runner's going to come in and they're going to want to take an hour nap. Is that
Yep.
is that okay?
Totally okay. It just depends on what their goals are. If they have the time to take a nap, great. Lay them down, take a nap. Find a comfy place for them. Protect them so that they're not going to be woken up for a 15, 20-minute, half an hour nap. Totally okay. That's allowed in ultra running. Just depends on the runner and what their goals are.
15 minutes goes a long way.
For sure, yeah. It definitely does. Yeah, you can be tired out there, really, really dragging, been awake for 30 hours, 15 minutes that will be just enough to keep you going. So you're right, 15 minutes goes a long way.
And the other thing I would say is, runners, make sure your crews read the runner's manual. If you're a crew watching this, make sure you get the runner's manual from your runner. Know what the rules are because it's your responsibility to know them. As a runner, it's your responsibility to make sure your crew follows them. They are an extension of you. So please, do make sure that we're all doing the right things out there together. Do you have any other advice you'd give to crews?
No, but that's a good point. Make sure as a crew member you know exactly where to park, exactly where to camp, where those things are not allowed too, because if you camp or park in the wrong place, that can disqualify your runner. And let me tell you, your runner's going to be pissed if they have to run 100 or 200 miles and they get disqualified for something that a crew member did. So yeah, definitely read the rules, know what you are allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do.
Well, let's move on to pacers. What kind of advice you got for those cats?
For sure, yeah. So, again, you want to have a meeting with your runner. You want to find out what the goals are. You want to find out what they are expecting from you. Usually this is done the night before. Sit down and have a long conversation with them. Find out exactly what they're going to be looking for from you as a pacer. It sounds like during this race, pacers are allowed at Horn Creek and Venable Aid Station, but like John said in the previous meeting, they have to be dropped off there. So your crew can take a pacer up to those spots, but then they have to drive back. You cannot sit there and wait in a car, looking at your phone, trying to figure out where the runner is, and then drop your guy off. Drop them off. That pacer may have to sit there and wait for a few hours. So if that means bring an extra coat, bring a flannel from Salvation Army so that you can take it off and throw it in the trash. Figure out what you need to do because you may be waiting in the cold, and then when your runner comes, then you're pacing. Another thing, you want to bring enough food for yourself. If you need water or electrolytes or you're really, really dying, it's probably not a huge deal if you take something off the aid station table, but you're basically running half this race for free, so you want to carry all your own food, which means you're bringing it from home. Whatever you like to run with, have a pack packed up with food and water and everything ready to go so that you don't have to rely on aid stations. That costs other people money. You're not paying for this race. You're not paying for any of these services, so just be prepared. Study the route as well. This route is pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward, but you don't want to get lost out there either. If you get lost, we're going to have to call SARS and bring someone in to come out and find you, which costs a ton of money. So be prepared. Know the routes. Know which sections you're going to be running. And, sometimes a runner will drop their pacer. If a runner's feeling good, They'll take off and drop their pacer. That happens. Make sure you know this course. Don't get lost out there. We don't want to have to come looking for you later on into the race. But don't leave your runner. You know, if you're feeling good as a pacer, don't take off from your runner because your runner needs you. That's what you're there for. You're there to pace them. By the time you're actually pacing this runner, they may be moving really slow. You know, they may be running 20-minute miles, walking 20-minute miles, or slower. You're going at their pace. You're taking care of them. One thing I like to do while I'm pacing is talk to other people. The runner's going to be tired. The runner's not going to have a whole lot of energy for chit-chat, usually. So talk to other pacers. Talk to other runners. Keep the camaraderie high. Keep the spirits high. You're there to keep your runner and their attitude high. So, you know, again, don't complain to your runner. If you've ran 20 miles with them and you're tired and this further than you've ever ran before, you know,
Good for you.
Runner. Yeah, good for you. Don't go to your runner and say, God, my feet hurt, my quads hurt, because your runner has gone a lot further than you. Pacers. Another thing. Like I said, we're out there running half this race for free. It's a privilege to be out there. So pick up some trash. If you see trash out there, if somebody accidentally dropped a gel pack here or there, sometimes they'll fall out of a pack accidentally, pick it up, take it into the next aid station, and drop it into a trash. Be courteous, be respectful. What else do we have? Again, know the rules. There's no muling allowed, for instance. So if your runner says, I'm tired of carrying these poles, you take these poles and will you put them in your pack so that I don't have to carry them? Not a good idea. That might get your runner disqualified. Your runner says, I'm tired of carrying this pack. This pack is too heavy. I've been carrying it for so many miles. Will you just take this and carry it for the next 10 miles? Not a good idea. You're going to get your runner disqualified. So again, read the rule book, find out what rules there are, what things you can and can't do, and stick with it. You don't want to get your runner disqualified. What else do we have? Just a little rule that I personally have as a pacer. I like to ask my runner, do you like me run in the front or the back? A lot of people have different preferences with that. I've paced these alpha-type males that need to be in the front, and they're setting the pace, and I'm following behind them, and we're just having a conversation as we're going. I've also paced other people that they're mentally gone. They don't know how fast they should be going. You know, they want you in the front, leading the way, so that literally all they have to do is just look at your shoes and just follow you along. You know, remind them to eat. Ask them when the last time was they drank. One thing I like to do when I'm pacing is, you know, I'll just check my watch every half an hour or so. I'll ask my runner, have you eaten? Maybe just take a bite out of something. You know, if you can't stomach a gel because your stomach's a little queasy, just give me 2 bites of this quesadilla, and that'll get us into the next aid station where you can have some fruit. You want to remind them to keep on eating because after a while they're going to forget. They're not going to be hungry. And if they stop eating, the race could be all over. So that's another thing you want to do. I think that's about all I got off the top of my head. Anything else, John?
Yeah, I just want to, you mentioned 2 things. The first one is, pacers, food and water. Again, this is kind of a new trend that most race directors are trying to instill into the sport, where pacers are a little more self-sufficient. Again, I just want to reiterate that, of course, we're going to be allowing pacers to use our food and our water and our electrolyte. We're not shutting them off. We're not turning them away. We're just asking that they please think about it and be a little more respectful and bring some of their own things. And that's all that is. Again, like you said, they're not paying customers like everybody else is. And typically, pacer fees haven't been built into, a race's entry fee. It's not something we think about. We really should. But if we did, prices would increase. And so it's just kind of one of those things like, hey, would you guys mind just being a little bit respectful and bring some of your own food and not rely so much on the race, and that's all there. But really what you're talking about in terms of pacing is that they are essentially they're like a friendly manager for the runner. And management is just making sure that you're taking all your smoke breaks and eating as much as you could possibly eat, even when you don't want to. They're keeping an eye on the clock if you need to take a nap in the mud. But other than that, they're really managing the mental game for you. So, I know some bad things to do, which is, continuously talk to your runner about how slow they are, or that their pace is slowing down, or, you're never going to make it, or any kind of negative talk is hugely frowned upon. Another thing would be, definitely don't take off on your runner. I mean, that could be incredibly demoralizing if your pacer just abandons you because you're going too slow. Also, it may not be the best idea to tell riddles in the middle of the night. I'm making another note here of something I thought of, but like the processing, having to process a riddle in your head and try to come up with an answer can be incredibly exhausting when you've already run 90 miles. Are there other things that you would suggest that pacers maybe shy away from doing?
Let's see, shy away from. I'm trying to think. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I feel like I've had world-class pacers in most of my events, and they did all the right things. They didn't really do a whole lot of wrong things. I'm sure there's a million of them. Don't bring your backpack with a loudspeaker to blast music to try and fire up your runners so that they can make it to the next aid station or to the finish. Bad idea, that's probably the main one I can think of off the top of my head.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm gonna have to say this loudly so everybody can hear me, but no cowbells. Please leave your cowbell at home. People, I know that people really believe that, cowbells are just this most uplifting sound. But the truth is, most runners are incredibly annoyed by the sound of a cowbell, especially during a 100-mile or 200-mile race. Like, you're coming into an aid station, and a cowbell is actually sensory overload. Like, it's hard to process the noise of a cowbell at some odd hour in the middle of the night when you haven't slept for 2 days or whatever. So it's just good practice to leave the cowbells at home too. Like, they're startling,
I feel like it's usually non-runners that are ringing those cowbells. Like, they think it's a great idea, but yeah, I don't think they've run mini ultras because they can be pretty annoying.
Yeah, they can. Is that all you have for pacers, Adam?
Yeah, I think so. Just be thankful. Have a good time out there. I mean, we're there to have fun, and we're there to keep our runner spirits high. So just have a good time. Keep it light. Chat with other pacers. Chat with other runners. Find out what races they've done. Find out how their runner's doing. I've been in races before where the runners aren't talking anymore because they're completely exhausted, but the pacers are all having conversations back and forth.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, that keeps the spirits high. One time I was in a race where a pacer started singing this song, and all of a sudden 40 people were singing this song, and everybody's spirits were high. And to this day, it's a moment that I remember, and every time I hear that song, I think about it. And I go back to that in my head, and I think, man, I was miserable at that spot, but we all started singing that song, and we were all together, and it was a great moment. So just, keep not only your runner spirit high, but everyone else's too. Keep that camaraderie up.
Another question I get often, Adam, is how do I thank my crew and pacer for helping me in this endeavor? And, typically if there's extra race shirts, you may buy them an extra race shirt, or you buy them a trucker hat, or you get them a gift card to Starbucks or something. It doesn't need to be anything extravagant, but a nice thank you to your crews and pacers for being there for you is really a cool part, of the sport. Like it is. You got to remember a lot of these people who are volunteering to help you have no idea what you're doing. They think you're crazy. It's not something that they'll ever do, but they took time out of their lives to support you. And so, be grateful and thank them for the help that they've given you.
For sure. Yeah, pacing can be somewhat of a thankless job too. I was just at an event last weekend where a guy paced another guy for 2.5 days. It's a long time.
Oh, shit.
When I saw this runner and this pacer, my concern was how's the runner doing? Are you doing okay? Do you need anything? Do you want to take a break? Do you want a little caffeine? Do you want a Coca-Cola? And then I looked at the pacer, and he'd been out there for 2.5 days. And I'm like, boy, that pacer looks like he's in bad shape too. Pacer, do you need anything? Do you need any caffeine? Do you need to lay down, take a break? Do you need anybody else to take over for you? So it can be a thankless job. And then, at the end of that event, everyone's praising the runner. Oh, you did so great, man. You finally did it. But that pacer was out there for 2.5 days, and
nobody cares.
Nobody really cares. Yeah, it's kind of a thankless job.
It's the same for race directing.
And John, thank you for race directing. Thanking you, my man.
Hey,
it would work for you.
Tell us a little more about Big Things Crewing, Adam. What services do you guys provide?
Yeah, so Big Things Crewing is a crewing and pacing service. You guys, from out of Colorado, from out of state, if you're coming into town, you don't know anybody around here, and you're looking for somebody to get you into the finish line, give us a call. We'd love to be of service. We'd love to help you out. At this point, we're pretty much going to be going up and down Music Pass, unless you guys have any special requests for us. Shoot us an email. We can come up to Horn Creek. We can come up to Venable Aid Station, and we can crew you guys a little bit further if it's something you guys are going to need. Pace you guys a little bit further if it's something you're going to need. But, we're going to be out there. We're fired up. We're pumped. And, otherwise, we're going to be going up and down Music Pass. Look for us. There's going to be a few of us out there. A couple of us are going to have the Big Things Crewing hats on. So look for us, and if you need a kick in the ass, that's what we're there for.
Are you booked during the race, or are you just helping out? Or are you
I'm just going to be helping out at this point.
Okay.
We haven't heard from too many people, and we're kind of a new business that doesn't really have a blueprint to follow. So we're not 100% sure how this is all going to shake out. This is just kind of we're just trying this out and kind of dipping our feet in and seeing how it goes. So if we don't hear from any of you guys, if you guys are all set up, you have pacers, you have crew, or you're going to go this thing alone, hats off to you guys. We're still going to be going up and down Music Pass, and we got your back, whatever you need.
How can people reach you in the days leading up to the race, Adam?
You can find us at our website. It is www.big-things-crewing.com. The dashes are very important. Without the dashes, you may end up on another site that you probably don't want to open up at the office at work. You may get fired. I'm not exactly sure what's on that site, but without the dashes, it looks like something else, and you guys can use your imagination. So dashes are important.
Awesome, Adam. Thank you so much, man. We look forward to seeing you at the race.
It's going to be a party, man. We're looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, man. We'll see you next week.
Sounds great.